Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's important to not make too rough an entrance. Okay, that was not a good entrance. You know what else isn't a good entrance? This. Yeah, pretty dangerous. The doors don't really work. We need to take the shovel and remove this straight line of dirt here that's supposed to indicate where that is. We got gaps in the floor. This whole thing is a little bit of a mess. We need to make entrance covers and proper doors on the three major kind of entryway sides of this building. These gaps, yes, they technically represent where doors go, but they're not doors yet. There's no roof here to keep the rain out. There's a hole that'll drop you straight down there. And, the other side over this way, not looking too much better either. We've still got some gaps along here that I need to fill in. And then, this door, kind of okay, I guess. But I've at least got these stairs in. Since I got back from Gamers Outreach, I have been working a little bit on the kind of apron around the building. So that, wall there doesn't just stop anymore, but it doesn't exactly go the way it's supposed to go yet. So what I'm imagining we're going to do this episode is focus on these kind of approaches to the museum itself. And then by the end of this episode, I'm also hoping to have some ideas roughed in for the Welcome Center. I've got a list of national park buildings to review, and so I'm going to be looking at those, making notes about what I like from each, mixing and matching, maybe throwing in a little bit of flair from other builds and other buildings. I guess architects don't call these builds when they're in the real world. And when I say these, I don't mean like big empty fields that will someday hold buildings. But, yeah, we have a lot to get done this episode, and so I want to get on it now. To the sandstone! Time skip! Hey, it might not be symmetrical, but it really makes an entrance. With it being me, the Juppet, apparently. Okay, no, I'm serious, though. This is not actually symmetrical. It's a little bit heavier on this left side than on the right side, but the core concept is in there. And not only is the core concept in there with the sandstone here, but if you look where I'm looking, you'll see that we've got these two additional little covers over where the actual main entrances go on the side here. So that'll work, hopefully. That should be functional. Now, I've also got a nice little water feature kind of roughed in. I'm going to have to figure out a better way to light this. Maybe get some prismarine lamps underneath. I'm not sure if they have any of those in the shopping district, but prismarine lamp tile underneath here might look good. Mix that in with some clay, some light blue terracotta, or maybe light blue concrete. I don't know. I've got gray concrete here for the surrounding lip, which I think works well with the basalt, the tile. The whole palette we got in here is looking pretty good. One thing we also need to do for this entrance is get proper doors on here. Still kind of noodling on what I want to do for that, but I'm thinking I'll put like 2 doors facing out, because from a fire standpoint, you'd want them to open outward if people pushed on them, right? So 2 doors here, 2 doors here as well. I don't know. We'll play with it. But yeah, this is coming together. It's coming along. And ooh, it is so nice seeing this lit at night. This feels very welcoming, right? It's kind of dark out there, but then, oh, hey, it's all glowing and very, very attractively lit. Then you come in right into Hermit Holmdel. You know what? As I'm realizing how lopsided this is, yeah, that cover is not covering that. Okay, so I think we're going to move this entire roof over a little bit, and we're going to extend this out maybe 1 light width more, which is like another 3 blocks approximately. So, here we go. Time skip. There's no hotbar. This is a recreation using replay mod of my final moments before death while I was trying to fix that thing I didn't record it because I thought, why would I need to record this? So as I'm completing this overhang, I thought to myself, let me fly up and see how this looks from another angle. It was a deadly angle. And so, okay, now I've lost all my stuff on a roof. I guess I'll go get an ender pearl and walk back, right? No need to start recording because I die all the time off camera. This won't be in any way notable. Here I am, getting all my stuff, everything's going smoothly, and then I think to myself, oh, there's probably more stuff up on the roof. Let's ender pearl up there. You see that death message? I thought, that's funny. Maybe that's because I've got Voxy or something installed. Apparently everyone on the server saw that death message. Apparently that's one of the rarest death messages in the game, and you gotta really work to engineer the circumstances to create it. I'm just trying to put a roof on a building. Okay. I'm gonna need some time to calm down. So after we're done with this, we're gonna go start laying in some bits of our welcome center, and I'm just gonna be chill. Time skip. I've taken the time necessary to cool out. And I've got these doors over here now. This is looking good. But, then I ran into kind of a chicken and egg problem, where I was like, okay, I need to take a break from just working on these entryways. Let me go work on the welcome center. And then I realized, but I know the welcome center needs a balcony, but I don't know how high the balcony needs to be. At what elevation should the balcony rest? Because we definitely want it high enough that you can see the extra roof and skylight bits that I haven't put in on top of Hermit Holmdel. And maybe I should scaffold those in. So, okay, do I work on scaffolding in the roof skylights first, or do I work on just building the welcome center so that I can see the welcome center from up here? I don't know. So I ended up kind of just doing both, and neither particularly well, but it's okay. Look. We've got the beginnings of the roof skylight here. This is enough of a mock-up that we can get a sense of it at a distance. We'll probably end up replacing... These are supposed to be like red iron girders. We'll probably end up putting some netherrack and maybe some other red blocks in there to mix it up a bit. Maybe some mangrove trapdoors on the lamps, the way we have the copper trapdoors on these lamps down here. But... most importantly, having gotten all of that roughed in, we could now fly over here to a platform that I started working on and figure out if that was actually noticeable. So, in addition to the platform, I got kind of carried away and started putting in a back wall for the platform. So, I realized I want the balcony here to enter into or exit from the main visitor center. And I wanted to have, like, another separate entrance down here for, like, the land claim office. And so the land claim office will be in here, probably remove this beacon. But yeah, I've got a few parts of different buildings I've started kind of assembling together. I liked a particular rounded entrance to one of the national parks, and I decided to three-dimensionalize it and make this kind of ramp up into here, which I'm thinking this will either be the main door or possibly a portal. Maybe I'll make the portal the main entrance to the building. So that way people entering from out there, they should have left their horses hopefully tied up down there somewhere. They can just come through, and now they're on the floor that's going to have a bunch of stuff for attractions for the visitors. Yay. But anyway, if they come out here and they want to get their eyes on Hermit Holmdel, check that out. These skylights are going to be visible. That is going to work at this distance. And so this back wall here, this is a facade that I was working on mostly to test the block palette, but also to get a sense of how high does this need to be when folks approach from B-Dubs' base via horse. So let's say that you're riding in from B-Dubs' over here. You know, you're going to come over this hill, and then there's going to be a little bridge that we haven't built yet, and then you're right here, and boom, there's your visitor center. The visitor center is high enough to, like, pop up between these two ice spikes here in a way that should be pretty notable. It is going to go a lot deeper this way than we've laid out so far. It's going to go basically all the way down to this corner. Going to have some additional stuff on this side. But in terms of like a rough proof of concept with the block palette, we've got the coral and the cobble in here. I haven't mixed in the andesite too much yet, because I wanted to see how heavy I could go on the cobble, and then like maybe pull that back down. The spruce on both the logs and the planks, I am very happy with. We still have to get the lanterns in and get quite a few other things. Oh, I started experimenting with this glass too. Mixing in black glass, then gray glass, then white glass to kind of give the sense of like shadows or something on the top of the windows. I didn't do that down here though, because I wasn't sure. Maybe the whole window should just be light gray on the ground floor because the entire thing is in shadow underneath this balcony. I haven't figured out what I want to do on the railings either. Maybe we don't do railings. Fall damage from this height won't kill you. Even without the beacon and without feather falling, you should be okay. So this is maybe a safe height for HermitCraft. Maybe not a safe height for children in the real national park system. But, you know, whatever. It's fine. We'll see how it goes. But, yeah, I like the way that this block palette, not coordinates with. Yeah, actually coordinates with. It coordinates with the block palette that we were playing with back there. This stuff all works well enough together that it doesn't feel out of place, and neither does that. Which, I mean, these buildings over here are just rough mock-ups right now anyway. I'm just trying to get a sense of how much space everything needs so that it all fits together in the end. You know, I'm no B-dubs, but I don't have to be. You know, I can still learn from his example and try to be a better version of myself. So that's what I'm doing now. So, you know what? I'm happy to learn from you, too. Leave your comments, leave your suggestions in the comments section below. And I think, to wrap up this video, I need to go make progress on the actual stated objectives. I need to go work on those other entrances. So here I go. Time skip. Okay, so after my fantastic death message adventure or whatever, I thought, okay, at least I'm done. At least I'm done with this one over here. But I'm not. I actually had to elevate the entire thing. The entire thing has now been elevated by, like, several blocks. So when you look at that right there, whoo, it now looks just perfect. We got the fasteners securing the little mini roofs that connect the doors to the main roof. We got a little side hatch there. That's a maintenance door. That's really on the building. Pretty happy with that. I need to put my gear back on, though, if I'm going to fly anywhere. As you can tell, we've also touched up these. These don't have all of the access points and ramps and stuff. Uh-oh. Sometimes the stairs are upside down. They're coming along. But it's one of those things where as I got more of those patched in, and as I worked on this, I realized we're really missing the vibe of the trees on the level up here. There should be trees in the grass. You can't even see the grass here. Should be trees blocking this snow. So how do we fix that? It seems like no matter how many times I fly around this building, I still keep finding gaps in the things I think that are finished. But that's okay. We are already fully equipped for our tree hunting expedition. Look at this. Look at this. Fireworks rockets, extra elytra, bed. So I think we're going to fly away to the nearest Pale Garden. Now, you might say, Joe, how are you going to find the nearest Pale Garden? Are you going to use one of those fancy maps where you type in the seed? No, gentle viewer, we are not going to do that. We are just going to look around. Do we see any Pale Gardens over there? Nope, no Pale Gardens out that way. Well, we'd probably be better served looking over here somewhere. Dang it, it's about to get dark. We need to find our Pale Garden and set a course. Whoa! Probably should have been looking more aggressively at my health there. How did I landed directly, basically, over top of where I took off from. I guess I did no lateral travel? Elytra, helmet. It's fine. Now, I actually am kind of suspicious that some of my stuff might have ended up on the other side of the... Yep, there's the bed up there. Okay. Perfect. Swift Sneak is a hard enchantment to get a hold of. If you look beyond that spawner there, I see a garden that is fairly pale. We are going to go collect the leaves from it. Now, you might think, Joe, anything that you can see in Minecraft you can fly to fairly quickly. Well, in theory, yes, but in practice with the Voxy mod, it might take us a while to get out there. So I'm going to go ahead and time skip. We have left Hermit Holmdel as well as the rest of the server well behind us, as we have entered the Pale Garden. But, like, seriously, this is wild that I can just see everything. I'm never going to shut up about how much I like seeing everything. I can see everything. Although, actually, now from a practical standpoint, I should shut up about it, because in the interest of time, we need to go gather some fancy, what do you call those, saplings here to get the pale oak trees for our own garden. I've created a little base up here, got a little little frog glow lamp thing, got a Joe Hill's head, got a Joe Hill's bed, got a Joe Hill's ender chest. If you look in our inventory, you will see at Joe Hill's is Leaf Eater, Fortune 3, Efficiency 5, Unbreaking 3, and Mending. Let's go. And you know what, while I'm here, we should probably grab some pale oak logs as well. I've also brought an Efficiency 5 axe with me. I didn't bother bringing a beacon because I don't feel like I'm going to be out here long enough to really need it. But you know what? Maybe in the future we will set a beacon up out here. It was a very pleasant flight out this way, I will say. How far out are we? 4,000, 1420. Wow. Wow, we are a good distance away from World Spawn, but we're having a blast. We're collecting the things we need. Here we go. Time skip. Having returned with plenty of pale oak saplings, I have started planting those at a somewhat regular interval over here, alternating a gap of 2 and 3. And I think that that is going to look good. Now, the real trees on the actual building that are outside the front are maybe not quite this thick, but I feel like it's important to, I don't know, try to lean into the newest stuff in Minecraft sometimes with our builds. I feel like these pale oak trees look good with the snow anyway, and so it's a good time to give that a try. Uh-oh. Running low on bone meal. So, let's see how these look in the distance here. Yeah, that doesn't look wrong necessarily. They're maybe a little bit too regular in some parts. We might trim them down or sculpt them a little bit. But, yeah, that really gives a lot of volume to the build. So it's not just a big box. Speaking of big boxes, I realized that this, I hate the idea of breaking spawners. I never want to break a spawner on HermitCraft, just in case we need it later. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to conceal this spawner. I've realized we're just going to throw it in a tree. It's just going to go inside one of the trees over here. We'll cover it with leaves, and then if somebody lands on it at night, they'll have a pleasant surprise. Maybe an unpleasant surprise. I don't know. We'll see what kind of surprise it is when we get to it. But core concept, we're just going to rip out this entire spawner chamber here and start planting the trees up on the apron on this side as well. So here we go. Time skip. Once more, I would like to welcome you to Hermit Holmdel. Look at this. We have sidewalks. We have trees. We have everything we need except, once again, these 2 pillars that will ultimately, you know, allow us to really kind of make sure this roof doesn't collapse on top of a toddler. So, in order to get those in here, we are going to put that there. Whoops. How about there? Yeah, that's looking good. Nice. Then we're going to swap those out with these pre-cooked smooth sandstone. Nope, not that. This one. Oh, look at that. That is coming together super well. Got a fancy pillar. Woo! We'll be able to get rid of this thing very shortly. I'm pretty happy with how all these trees turned out. I wasn't sure initially about using all of the pale oak in here for this project, but I think it actually gives everything kind of a unified and wintry vibe that wouldn't have worked in a summer biome. So I'm actually really pleased with how all that has come together as well. So we're going to put this cut sandstone here, and a cut sandstone here. And then we can remove this and hopefully not have it collapse on us. Look at that roof. It's suspended. And we no longer have to live in suspense about whether or not I'm making progress on this build. We have a fantastic entrance. We have corners that are properly cornered. We have landscaping that is properly landscaped. Our entrances are in as well. This has been a very welcome sight. All of this progress here. Look at that. Look at that. So much better at the proper Y level. And so, as the sun sets and we head out toward our welcome center, once again, here's a reminder that I'd like y'all to leave comments in the YouTube section below with your thoughts about what the welcome center should be, or how it should be. Details. Another thing, though, you might have noticed in the comment section below is there's room for you to leave a poem. Yes, that's right. Instead of mid-roll ads this episode, we have a poetry prompt courtesy of Drew Baca. So thank you very much, Drew Baca. In lieu of those mid-roll ads, here is that poetry prompt now. A cold welcome. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.